Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. They say pain changes people, and they're right. But what they don't always tell you is that pain can also create people. It can carve out strength where there was weakness, build resilience where there was doubt, and even give birth to art from the depths of despair. Today, I want to talk about a woman who didn't just endure pain, she painted with it. Muniba Mazari, known as the Iron Lady of Pakistan, turned the most tragic chapter of her life into a masterpiece of courage, creativity, and compassion. Paralyzed from the waist down after a devastating car accident, Muniba could have chosen silence, bitterness, or retreat. But instead, she chose a canvas, and with every stroke of her brush, she transformed her pain into purpose, reminding the world that broken crayons still color. My topic today is painting with pain, transforming struggles into creative power. And through the inspiring lens of Muniba's journey, we will explore how our deepest wounds can become our greatest works of art. Pain is often seen as something to be avoided, a burden, a curse, an unwelcome visitor in the journey of life. But what if pain isn't just something that breaks us down? What if instead it becomes the raw material from which we create something beautiful? What if pain, when embraced rather than resisted, becomes the catalyst for our greatest creative breakthroughs? Muniba Mazari is living proof of this powerful truth. Before her accident, Muniba lived a life filled with dreams like any other young woman. But in a single moment, everything changed. A car crash left her with multiple fractures and a damaged spine. She was told she would never walk again. In that hospital bed with her body broken and her spirit wounded, it would have been easy for her to give up. But it was in this very darkness that something extraordinary began to emerge. She discovered painting, not just as a hobby, but as a voice for the emotions that words couldn't express. Her pain became her palette, her scars became her strokes, and her canvas became a mirror of her soul. Creativity, at its core, is about expression. It is about giving form to what lies inside, whether it's joy, hope, despair, or grief. For many, pain is something hidden, something shameful. But when we allow it to flow through art, we do not only heal ourselves, we give others permission to feel, to relate, and to rise. Muniba did not attend fancy art schools or receive formal training, but her work resonates deeply because it is born out of something real. Her art speaks the language of the heart, unfiltered, raw, and deeply human. What makes Muniba's story remarkable is not just the transformation of her own life, but the way she has used her creativity to transform the lives of others. She reminds us that pain does not have to be the end of our story. It can be the beginning of a new one. In her darkest moments, painting gave her light. It became a therapy, a meditation, a way to process her suffering and transform it into something meaningful. And through that transformation, she found power. When we talk about creativity, we often think of it as something that flourishes in moments of peace and inspiration. But true creativity is often forged in the fire of struggle. It comes from a place of deep reflection, of confronting our vulnerabilities and choosing to express them rather than hide them. Pain strips away the superficial. It brings us face to face with who we really are. And in that space of raw truth, creativity becomes not just an outlet, but a lifeline. Muniba's story teaches us that pain is not a weakness. It is not a limitation. It is an invitation to feel more deeply, to understand more clearly, and to create more boldly. She turned her wheelchair into a symbol of strength. She turned her silence into speech, and her suffering into strokes of art that now inspire millions around the world. Her paintings are not just images on a canvas. They are windows into a soul that refused to be broken. We all carry some form of pain. It may not be visible, but it is there in our memories, in our losses, in our failures, and in our fears. The question is, what will we do with it? Will we let it consume us, or will we let it shape us? Muniba chose to create. She chose to rise. And in doing so, she gave the world more than just art. She gave the world hope. Her life reminds us that we do not have to wait for perfect circumstances to begin. We do not need to be whole to create something beautiful. Sometimes it is the cracks that allow the light to enter. And in that light, creativity thrives. Adversity is something we all encounter. It comes in many forms: loss, failure, heartbreak, illness, or unexpected challenges. For some, adversity becomes a wall too high to climb. But for others like Muniba Mazari, adversity becomes a mirror, reflecting not what's broken, but what's unbreakable. It reveals the core of who we are and offers a choice, to let it define us or to let it refine us. Muniba chose the latter. She allowed adversity to shape her identity, not shatter it. She transformed tragedy into triumph and pain into power. At the age of 21, Muniba's life took a dramatic turn. A car accident left her with spinal injuries that confined her to a wheelchair for life. For many, such a blow would be the end of dreams, the end of movement, the end of purpose. But Muniba did not let her physical condition limit her spirit. In fact, it was through this very experience she discovered her strength, her voice, and her identity. She embraced the new version of herself, not with denial or bitterness, but with grace and resilience. Identity is not something fixed. It is not defined by circumstances, titles, or appearances. It is constantly evolving, especially in the face of hardship. Adversity strips away the roles we play and the masks we wear. It forces us to ask deeper questions. Who am I when everything I once depended on is gone? Who am I without the things that once gave me a sense of worth? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary. And in finding the answers, we often discover a version of ourselves that is stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Muniba Mazari did not allow her wheelchair to define her. Instead, she used it as a platform, both literally and metaphorically, to elevate her voice and message. She became a motivational speaker, a painter, writer, a model, and an advocate. She chose to see herself not as a victim, but as a survivor. Not as someone who had lost everything, but as someone who had gained a new perspective. Through this shift in mindset, she redefined what it means to be strong, beautiful, and whole. The journey of self-discovery through adversity is not a straight line. There are moments of doubt, despair, and darkness. But within those moments lies the potential for transformation. When faced with adversity, we have two options. We can surrender to, or we can rise from it. Rising doesn't mean ignoring the pain. It means acknowledging it, facing it, and then choosing to move forward with it. Not as a burden, but as part of our story. Muniba's story is not just about overcoming physical limitations. It is about reclaiming identity through inner strength and courage. What makes her story even more inspiring is her openness. She does not hide her scars. She shares them. She does not pretend to be perfect. She embraces her imperfections. And in doing so, she gives others the courage to do the same. She reminds us that true identity is not built on perfection. It is built on authenticity. It is about owning our experiences, even the painful ones, and allowing them to shape us into better versions of ourselves. There is a unique kind of beauty in those who have been through adversity and have allowed it to shape them instead of breaking them. They carry a quiet strength, a deeper empathy, and an unshakable belief in the power of the human spirit. Muniba exemplifies this kind of beauty. She radiates confidence not because life has been easy, but because she has faced its challenges head-on and emerged stronger each time. In our own lives, we may not face the exact same challenges, but we all face moments that test us, moments that shake our sense of self and force us to rebuild. And in those moments, we can remember Muniba's journey. We can remember that our identity is not determined by what happens to us, but by how we respond to what happens. We can remember that adversity is not the end of the road. It's often the beginning of a new path. A path that leads us not just to healing, but to purpose. A path that invites us to become more than we ever thought we could be. Struggles are often seen as obstacles, moments in life that slow us down, push us off track, or make us question our worth. But what if we began to see our struggles not as setbacks, but as raw material for something greater? What if we allowed them to lead us toward purpose rather than away from it? Muniba Mazari's life is a testament to this truth. Her story shows us that within our most painful experiences lies the potential to uncover a powerful sense of purpose, one that not only transforms our own life, but touches the lives of others. When Muniba faced a life-altering accident that left her paralyzed from the waist down, she was thrust into a world of uncertainty and emotional pain. The things she once took for granted, mobility, independence, physical strength, were suddenly gone. But instead of retreating into silence, she chose to speak. Instead of hiding her wounds, she chose to display them as symbols of survival. It was through this bold act of vulnerability that she began to discover her deeper calling, to be a voice for those who feel voiceless, to bring light to those lost in darkness, and to show that pain can, in fact, be the birthplace of purpose. Turning personal struggle into purposeful expression doesn't require extraordinary talent. It requires extraordinary courage. It means embracing the parts of our journey we often wish to forget and using them to build something meaningful. For Muniba, that meant picking up a paintbrush when her body refused to move freely. It meant telling her story when she could have chosen to stay silent. It meant becoming a speaker, a motivator and an artist who brings color to the lives of people who may feel trapped in black and white. Trapped in black and white. Her journey reveals that purpose doesn't always come from comfort or success. More often, it emerges from the ashes of our most painful experiences. It is born when we stop asking, "Oh, why me?" and start asking, "Oh, what now?" Muniba could have remained defined by her tragedy, but she chose to define herself by how she rose from it. And in doing so, she found a way to express not just her pain, but her resilience, hope, and passion. This purposeful expression became her strength. It gave her life direction, depth, and meaning. One of the most powerful aspects of Muniba's story is the way she uses her struggle to connect with others. Her art is not just about beauty, it's about truth. Her words are not just inspirational, they're honest. By expressing her journey, she creates space for others to feel seen and heard. She reminds people that they are not alone in their pain, and that their struggles too can be transformed into something powerful. This is the essence of turning struggle into purposeful expression. It becomes a bridge between individual pain and collective healing. Purpose rooted in struggle is unshakable because it is real. It is grounded in lived experience. It is not borrowed or imagined, it is earned. And because of that, it resonates on a deep level. Muniba doesn't inspire people because her life is perfect. She inspires them because she has found a way to live with purpose despite the imperfections. She shows us that we don't need to wait until we're healed to help others. We don't need to wait until the pain is over to create something meaningful. In fact, it is often while we are still in the struggle that our greatest purpose begins to emerge. Our personal challenges can become our most powerful expressions when we choose to face them, own them, and use them to uplift others. Muniba's life is a beautiful example of this. Through her art, her speeches, her activism, and her presence, she continues to turn scars into symbols of hope. Her pain did not silence her. It gave her a platform. Her challenges did not define her, they refined her. Each of us has a story. Each of us has faced moments that hurt, that broke us, that changed us. But those moments don't have to be the end of our narrative. They can be the spark that ignites something greater. Like Muniba, we can choose to transform our pain into power, our struggle into strength, and our wounds into wisdom. When we express our experiences with honesty and heart, we create a ripple effect. We give others permission to do the same. We remind them that their pain too has purpose.